Hello, welcome to Sheepdog Says. Today I'm going to talk about the World Cup because it is about 2 weeks away and I'm excited because this is the first time in a long time that I feel really up for it, I think. That might be because there's quite a few Spurs or ex-Spurs players in the team now, which is always going to make me feel a bit biased, I know, but in the past I've not particularly enjoyed supporting John Terry or, you know, Wayne Rooney, people like that who just do my head in because they're always moaning or they're really cynical or, you know, they're too busy fighting over the fact that they want to be earning 300 grand a week, not 200 grand a week at Manchester United, every footballer's dream club or one of them, and all that nonsense. And you're like, get lost, Wayne, swearing at the fans on telly and all that. So I've always had a bit of a I don't care, I'm not interested attitude about it as an adult. But this year, I'm excited. The team looks decent enough that everyone in the team warrants their place there. There isn't a player where I'm like, don't know why they're there. I'm excited that a major Spurs player is going to be the England captain. I don't think we're going to win it at all. I'm realistic in that, but I feel like we should go a reasonable distance, and it shouldn't be a complete washout. That does depend on Southgate as the manager, though. But I'm not here to critique the England team. I'll do that when the cup actually starts, and I'll maybe do a couple of videos after matches going, oh. But it's interesting thinking, this will be the first one that Bosco's old enough to have actually watched, and I think it'll be the first time that Lamp cares enough, because she was too young to care before, but also I've kind of bribed them into caring by telling them that when it's on, they can stay up late and watch it. If they don't want to watch it, they can go to bed. That's their choice. But I think the fact that they'll get to stay up a bit later each night when the football's on is a good enough trick to get them into it. And I mean, Bosco got into it like that. I mean, I don't know if that's just a boy thing. I'm not trying to be sexist or generalist there, but Lampup's like, nah, football's rubbish. Whereas Bosco was like, do we like Scotland? And I went, no, we like England. And he was like, boo, Scotland, boo. And I was like, you don't have to boo Scotland. They're still like our neighbours. They're not going to be at the World Cup. You don't have to boo them. He's asked me, do we like Chelsea? I was like, we definitely don't like Chelsea. He's like, boo, boo. And like every now and again, my daughter will say like, oh, I'm going to support Arsenal then. And I'm like, you will move out. I will kick you out of the house if you support Arsenal. So then they both start joking that they do, or they support. I don't know what Bosco's fixation is on Scotland, but he always says, I'm going to support Scotland then. And I'm like, I really don't have a problem with Scotland. What is this anti-Scotland vibe that he's trying to create in the house? Like I suddenly hate him. But no, so I'm excited about that. Normally, my wife and I, we do like a sweepstake where we have a bet on something. It's usually quite trivial, to be honest. It's not going to be money because we share the same money pot. I think we had some bets around house chores and stuff before, but I don't think either of us really actually caved. I think the problem is I can't remember for certain, but I think my team won, and I'm not the sort of person who forces her to do the forfeit. And I don't think she'd force me either, to be fair. But that's always been fun, knowing that we all have skin in the game, kind of thing. I think it always ends up the same sort of thing, though. I end up with one team in the last 4, and she ends up with 3 teams, and then we're battling it out. Something is spreading it across all the kids. Maybe not the baby; he won't care. That'd be more interesting. At the Euros, which is mad that was 2 years ago. Sorry, my wife's just texted me because she can hear me talking, going, Scotland aren't in it. I know that. I just said that. Earwig. In the Euros, I did a sweepstake at work, and I've got to admit it was a bit of a train wreck because there was one person who did it who didn't have any interest in football. She just got assigned a team. She won it because it was Portugal she got. I gave the MD, my boss, Northern Ireland, who didn't do very well, of course, because it's Northern Ireland. I can't remember who I had in that one. It was someone there. I think everyone who gave a slightest bit of interest in football ended up with a dreadful team, and everyone who didn't really care ended up with the top European teams. And so this time I need to do that again, but I need to try and balance it. I think we've got a lot more football fans in the office now, so it should be entertaining. And looking at the list, there's not that many bad teams in it. I think I could leave out the worst teams. But in my group of friends, we had the same sort of thing. We had a bet on, but it wasn't again for money. It was for anything specific that we wanted. And I think I've mentioned in the past, there was this awful picture of me that they put on a t-shirt of me when I did my stag do. I basically got very, very, very drunk playing pub golf in Canterbury. And where I was sick, my friend took my shirt off me to stop it getting ruined for some reason. And then there's just this hideous picture of me vomiting down myself. And they kept getting it out as references to mock me at some point or another. And then I said, if Portugal win the European Cup, you can't post that picture anywhere without paying a £50 fine to charity. So they all accepted it because, you know, meh, it's not that big of a prize. Some of them had better prizes, like if we lost, we all had to do a specific... One of them had a good prize, whereas if we lost, we all had to meet up at his place for a party. And I was like, that's quite a nice one. I almost wanted him to win on that one. And no one could sort of back out or whatever. We all had to make it no matter what. But that might have been a nightmare if it had clashed or something. But my team won anyway, and this picture got banned forever. They tried to rewrite the rules, but I did say I would sue them if they tried to bring that picture out. They have to pay charity 50 quid for the rest of time. They can't just get rid of it whenever there's a different tournament. Otherwise, I'll have to keep picking the winner. But anyway, I was going to talk about... We entered the competition this year with my brother-in-law. So when the Premier League started last year, we all picked teams. You pick one team from each league, and you got points depending on how well they did in their respective leagues. And for the whole year, I was in like the top 10. At one point, I was third. I kept going closer to the top and then simmering away. And then right at the end, I ended up ninth. But my brother-in-law, he entered twice. He entered himself and with my father-in-law. And he was like bottom. And then his second one has just gone up and up and up and up and up until he came first in the last week out of the blue. Just randomly wins it. He's the flukiest monkey, you know. I don't know why I said monkey. I didn't want to swear. But he's asked us to enter this next one. And again, he's entered one team. He's entered with my father-in-law, who's not really into it, but he wants to include him. And I don't know how it's going to be. My father-in-law is just going to go up to the top again. It's quite funny, actually, because my wife has the same initials as her dad, and they emailed her saying, what account should we put the prize money in? And she sort of forwarded it to her brother saying, sort this out, with their dad. And I said, we should have just claimed it and then told him that they'd scammed him or whatever. He would have believed it. We could have ran off into the sunset with his 150 quid, never to be seen again. I don't even know what the prize is on this one. We just had to pay a fiver to enter it. I should have made him pay the fiver after he conned us by beating me by 8 places on the last one. But this one had quite a good setup because I gave you £36 million to spend and set the teams into groups. And Group 1's teams were all like between 8 and 10 million, whereas Group 8's teams were all 1 million. So I think it expected you to start at the top and pick like Brazil, who were 10 million, and work your way down. But I kind of started at the bottom and picked like Saudi Arabia for 1 million. I was very shocked that South Korea were in there as like a 1.5 million team in Group 7. I went right for them. They're like one of my favourite World Cup teams. Every tournament I watch them because A, they're surprisingly good. They're an attacking team. They're really good. And they're just awesome to see play. B, this time round, Heung-min Son is like their star player. He won like Asian Player of the Year. He's one of Spurs' best players. I absolutely frigging love him. He's such a legend. And with him in the team alone, they should do well. He really should take them a reasonable distance. He's a goal machine. He'll be great. I'm well excited. I picked Japan because they're another team I used to love watching growing up. Again, I think they're more into football than people give them credit. I think people assume that they're from a country that enjoys different sports. They're not going to be into this. But Japan's a big football country. So, I reckon they'll do all right. I picked Egypt, and then coincidentally, they pointed out to me when I sent my wife the list. She said to me, well, Egypt are in the same group as 3 of your other teams. I think it was 3. And she said, there's no chance they're going to win it. So, like, the group, so what are you doing? So I took them out, swapped them for Nigeria, who were in a slightly weaker group. But, I mean, they're still not expected to go far. That's why they're in Group 5 on this thing. But then, obviously, with Mo Salah getting injured, I feel like I've kind of I'm onto something, because they're saying, oh, he might play some part in the World Cup, but I'm thinking if he misses the first 3 games, he's only going to turn up for 1 game. They might as well not bother, because there's no chance of getting out of their group, surely, without him. So that felt like a good win. Group 4, I'm the only person out of everyone who entered who picked Russia from Group 4. They're the hosts. I mean, aside from anything, it's Russia, in Russia. Well, France won it in their country. Didn't Greece, was it in Greece when Greece won it? Like, Russia could easily win this, so I picked Russia. But I also just thought, they got the home advantage, they got the crowd behind them. Part of me feels like, I don't want to get political, but they've got the government in Russia behind them. I don't want that to sound any worse than it is. Don't judge me for saying that. I feel just like if any country has a reputation for that kind of thing, maybe it's Russia. Poland were in Group 3. They were higher ranked, more likely to succeed than Russia, in Russia, and all the other teams I've mentioned. So I went for them just because I thought they're probably more likely to outdo England. England are in Group 2. And again, it was one of those things where I think the options were England, Portugal, and 2 other teams. I didn't have enough for Croatia, it was. So I went for England because I just thought, you know what, I don't know where we'll end up. I feel like this year we could go to the quarters or the semis, maybe. It does depend, but then cups are funny. Cups, I mean, Portugal, Greece and France never looked like they were likely to do stuff. I wanted to do Belgium, but they were too expensive. I always feel like Belgium are going to do well. I always feel like Holland are going to do well, and both teams always seem to flop and fall apart. Belgium have no reason to fail. Their team is blooming good. Like, if you just went by the transfer fees for the players that are in each team, teams like Belgium would be massive. I mean, not as massive as maybe Brazil and Spain. I'm probably not really thinking that through. But I'd love to see a comparison. I bet out of all of it, there'd be one that would stand out quite far. I mean, their defence is expensive and plays at the highest level of English football. At least 2 or 3 of them do, anyway. The midfield is decent. I just can't think of any real flaws in their team. So this is like their golden period. It's been a golden period for like 12 years now, but still they're just not, I don't know, they just don't do it. And then the options for Group 1 were the likes of Brazil, I forget who else, Argentina maybe, I don't know. I think Uruguay were high up considering, but I went for Spain because I didn't have enough money for any other teams, basically. Where I went from the bottom up, when I got to the top I was like, well, it's like, it could be any of them, really. So I went for Spain because I thought they're still Spain, they're still good. I don't really feel like I know enough about them to predict they're going to win. But I felt like Brazil are that sort of team that everyone just goes, yeah, Brazil, they're going to win. And it's like, oh, I don't know. They haven't. Germany were more expensive and they probably have more of a chance. But I couldn't afford them in my game. So I've got my 8 teams, and it's a good job she reminded me of that because I'd forgotten that we'd entered that. And there's something to support. I feel like I need to then pick the next 8 teams I'd like to win. I'll make them my teams for our sweepstake. And if I end up covering all my bases and I have like 8 in each different one, then I'm bound to win something, surely. I might try and convince Kev to do one for his Football Manager channel rather than trying to do one on my own. Because there's going to be quite... I suppose there's only, what, 28, 30... I don't know how many teams there are in it. I didn't do the maths in my head quickly to work it out, but 36. No, 32. 8 times 4 I was trying to do then, and I got an absolute brain freeze. That's terrible. I used to be a teacher. I think that's right. There's no teams they missed out of it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the World Cup. I'm thinking that I feel like Germany are probably just going to walk it like they always do. I don't think Russia should go very, very deep because they're the hosts. So this is all kind of geared around how far they go and the amount of goals they score. So I feel like Korea will score a lot of goals. Japan will probably score a few. Russia should get very deep into it for such a lowly ranked team in this tournament. I feel like Harry Kane and Jamie Vardy and the other guys that we've got up front, they're goal machines in the league. Surely they'll be goal machines at the World Cup. If they're not, that's insane. I don't get how you can't be. It'd be ridiculous. But then I suppose, again, Rooney, he didn't score in World Cups ever. I think he only has like 1 or 2 proper tournament goals. They were all friendly goals before that. There might be an exaggeration, but he hadn't scored in a major tournament for a long time. Him retiring was no, no bad thing for England. It was a bit of a blessing, and it's probably a good thing for Man United and Everton. Now he's there, you know, better for his career that he did that than tried to persevere. But I don't know. Hopefully I smash it. I'm up against the whole of Deeping. Well, the people in Deeping who enter. I should have got Kev to enter that because it is his local thing. It's a tournament run by a random guy in Deeping. I don't know how he works it out. He's quite good at setting up tournaments, this fella. So I'm interested to see how it goes. Hopefully I'll win it. The fact that in my inaugural time I finished in the top 9 out of like 60 people is, you know, splendid. And I would have finished 8th if my brother-in-law hadn't cheated slightly by entering twice. So yeah, I'm happy with that. 8th place, I'm going to say. I'm going to wrap it up there. Let me know who you think will win the World Cup. Let me know who you're getting in your sweepstake, if you've done one yet, or what your plan is. Is there any other better way to do it? What I was going to do is just get everyone in a randomizer and give them all a team and say, that's your team. If you want to enter, it's £2. Well, make them pay the £2 first, then give them the team, which I felt so guilty with my boss. Got his £2 and then gave him Northern Ireland. That was the worst moment ever. It was just like, yeah, you have the power to sack me. Here's your basic fail. I've just mugged you with £2. But yeah, let me know if there's a better way to do it. I think this one was a bit too complicated for me to try and translate into my office because I still don't really get how this one is scored, really. It'd probably take a lot of effort unless I could find a computerised version of it. But if there is a computerised version, then let me know, because that'd be another thing where I could give everyone a chance to think about it themselves and challenge them to beat each other with their knowledge rather than just sheer luck. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. As I say, let me know your ideas and thoughts for the World Cup ahead. Give me a subscribe and a comment and a like, and watch more videos. As I said yesterday, the previous few have been a bit quieter, where I don't know if it's just bank holiday weekend or what. It seemed to peak on different ones, so I know I've not scared everyone off. It's probably just the topics, to be fair, but those bank holiday ones I thought were decent, so if you've not seen them, go check them out. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.